Today we're jumping right into a really foundational disagreement in kettlebell technique. It's all about the high repetition snatch and how exactly the bell should get from the floor to that overhead position.
And it's such a critical topic. I mean, the snatch is this complex ballistic movement. When you're talking about high volume, like an Nigeria voice sport snatch test, every little bit of stability and, energy conservation really starts to matter. And the philosophies on how to achieve that are, well, they're pretty opposed.
They really are. So the central question is this: should the snatch be seen as a movement that's all about maximizing efficiency with a tight, vertical path, basically a clean that just happens to end overhead? Or does true technical mastery demand that intermediate step of the traditional high pull to start the movement?
And I'm going to be arguing that focusing purely on those specific technical cues, like a controlled high pull, is absolutely necessary. It's how you build a skill, it's how you ensure safety, and frankly, it's how you prevent the most common and painful mistakes.
And I'll be making the case for that efficiency-driven model. When we're talking about high-volume performance, we have to prioritize the shortest distance between 2 points. It's all about optimizing the bell's path to conserve energy, especially for that long-haul endurance work. So look, for anyone doing high-volume kettlebell snatches, especially in these endurance protocols where fatigue is coming, the most efficient way to do it is to think of it as a clean that ends overhead. And the reason is simple: your grip. Your grip strength is almost always the first thing to go, long before your hips or your legs even think about giving out. This technique is all about minimizing those energy leaks to save your grip. So after that powerful hip drive, you redirect the force upward, but you do it by leading with the elbow. The entire goal is to keep the bell as close to your center of mass as possible, what we call staying in your lane. You just have to avoid that, that traditional loopy swinging to overhead path. That arc forces you to actively slow the bell down and then redirect its trajectory, and it smokes your grip. The bell should travel so tightly that if you were practicing next to a wall, your elbow would just about brush it on the way up.
Okay, I see that. I see why you're so focused on that clean path as the gold standard of efficiency. But I think when you rely purely on that clean overhead idea, you're glossing over the really foundational technical steps you need to safely manage all that explosive momentum. This is especially true once people start moving beyond, lighter introductory bells. The snatch has to be initiated with a specific controlled high pull. That's where you get that noticeable bend in the elbow and the bell stays close, right in front of the chest. If you ignore that intermediate pull cue, you get what we call straight arming. It's the most common mistake. That's when the elbow stays locked and the kettlebell just flips or flops over the hand at the top. The impact it's just shocking. It's terrible for the shoulder joint. The proper technique, it requires you to rotate your arm around the kettlebell as it's coming up, and then you actively punch the hand through the handle. That's how you get a soft, controlled reception overhead. And that whole process, it demands specific pull mechanics that the sort of abstract clean guidance just doesn't cover.
I'm just not convinced by that line of reasoning, because our source material actually points to the traditional high pull as a technique that's associated with a key mistake: not staying in your lane. That lack of vertical precision is what disconnects the shoulder and leaves it vulnerable, not the pure clean path. If your high pull involves any kind of outward loop or flare, well, you lose the most crucial advantage, which is leverage. The essential insight here really is leverage. Keeping the bell close to your center of mass by leading with the elbow maximizes your mechanical advantage and, again, saves the grip for those final, really demanding reps. We have to prioritize the shortest, most energy-conservative path. It's as simple as that.
That's a compelling point on grip endurance, I'll give you that. But we have to be really clear about which high pull we're criticizing. The mistake you're talking about, the one that leaves the shoulder vulnerable, that happens specifically when the elbow is flared out. It's when the lifter is trying to sort of reverse the bell's momentum and lets it loop way out wide. A controlled high pull is the exact opposite of that. It's the mechanism that forces the elbow to bend and stay close, which is precisely what prevents the bell from looping out in the first place. And that outward loop, that's the root cause of the infamous wrist bang, that painful crash of the bell into your forearm during the catch. We just can't rely only on an abstract hip drive and an elbow lead. We need a concrete initial guidance mechanism to ensure that vertical path.
It's execution. My whole argument is really focused on execution efficiency, which, at the end of the day, is the only variable that matters during high-volume work. The kettlebell clean, it establishes that explosive force and that momentum management beautifully. So if we frame the snatch as a vertical extension of the clean, we're just leveraging that already tight foundational path. And that dramatically reduces the gross deceleration that any wide-swinging technique requires. For conditioning, where you're aiming for continuous work for minutes at a time, that linear path represents maximum efficiency. It's really the only way to hit those volume goals.
I just come in it from a different angle. I agree that clean is the essential bridge between the swing and the press. And the snatch is ballistic like a clean, sure. But the overhead lockout mechanics are just fundamentally different. I mean, think about the press. It requires such meticulous preparation. We teach that sequential zip-up technique to create full-body stiffness and brace the spine for that heavy overhead stability. The snatch, on the other hand, it demands a rapid, soft catch to protect the elbow and wrist. If a lifter only thinks of the snatch as a clean that ends overhead, they are so much more likely to rush that critical punch the hand through the handle motion, all that finesse you need for a soft reception. They'll prioritize the upward speed of the clean over the precise racking mechanics that you need for joint health.
But if our training goals, like the sources suggest, involve these hybrid protocols, you're combining heavy strength work with high-density conditioning, then the focus on efficiency, on the clean path, is explicitly for that conditioning piece. In a competitive setting, like a snatch test with a 20-kilo bell, grip conservation is everything. You absolutely need that tight path to complete 10, 20 reps per arm without losing your velocity. The mechanical inefficiency of a wide, looping swing, it just makes it a non-starter for any kind of sustained competitive volume.
And the volume argument is strong for performance testing, absolutely. But for just general technique acquisition, for building robust functional movement, we have to prioritize proper sequencing. Look at the Turkish get-up, the TGU. We don't teach that as one big blended movement right at the start. We segment it. We teach rolling to the elbow, then bridging and sweeping the leg. We isolate and strengthen those stability weaknesses. It's the same with the snatch, that initial control and proximity, which is the entire function of the high pull initiation. That has to be mastered before we start blending it into some hyper-efficient, high-speed movement pattern. Efficiency without technical mastery of the pull mechanics just introduces far too much unnecessary risk and shoulder vulnerability.
So we've really illuminated how this entire debate hinges on where we place the priority. Is it on maximizing performance efficiency, or is it on mastering the technical segmentation of these ballistic lifts? My position hasn't changed. For practical high-volume work, the snatch has to take the most vertical path possible, the essence of a clean that ends overhead, to conserve energy and maximize grip time. That linear path avoids all the inefficient deceleration and trajectory problems that plague other techniques, and that is the path to a higher work capacity.
That's an interesting way to put it, though I'd frame it a bit differently. While efficiency is without a doubt the goal of advanced performance, the evidence shows that specific technical cues, like the controlled high pull, are necessary teaching tools for coaches. They help prevent those really destructive technical errors, like straight arming and that painful wrist bang, and they ensure a safe, stable movement pattern before you even attempt to increase volume. Ultimately, I think both of our perspectives really just reinforce that meticulous technique and full-body bracing are critical for any serious kettlebell lift. There's clearly much more to explore in the relationship between these foundational movements and how their subtle technical distinction should inform our different programming goals.